Have you ever stopped to think about what actually powers the apps you use every single day? Well, a lot of the time, it's a massive behind-the-scenes scramble that happens under some serious pressure. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on one of the most critical projects in modern tech, a full-scale, high-speed cloud migration.
Okay, so just imagine this. The challenge lands right on your desk. Your boss, the CTO, says, listen, we've got 50 absolutely essential applications running on our own servers. I need them all moved over to the cloud in 3 months. The clock is now ticking. I mean, where would you even begin? Sounds like a monster of a task, right? But it's not impossible if you have the right plan. So first we'll dig into why this is such a high-stakes move to begin with. Then we'll break down the whole project month by month. First the blueprint, then the actual migration, and finally sticking the landing. And we'll also get into something just as important, managing all the risks and the people.
Right. First things first. Why on earth would any company take on a project this risky, this complex, and on such a tight deadline? What's the big reward at the end? Let's think about it like this. Running your own servers, what we call on-premise, is kind of like owning your own factory. You own the building, the heavy machinery, all of it. It's powerful, sure, but it's super expensive, needs constant upkeep, and if you suddenly get a huge surge in business, you can't just build a new wing overnight. Now the cloud, that's like moving into a slick, modern industrial park. You just rent the space and the top-of-the-line equipment you need exactly when you need it. It's flexible, way more cost-effective, and you can scale up or down instantly. That agility, that's the name of the game.
So we keep saying we're moving 50 things, but what are they, really? In tech today, they're usually microservices. See, modern apps aren't built as one giant clunky piece of code anymore. They're broken down into these small, independent services. Think about your favorite streaming app. One little service handles your login, another handles the search bar, a third one deals with your payments. Each of those is a microservice. It's a great way to build things, but it also means we have 50 individual little pieces to carefully pack up and move. Okay, so the first 30 days are all about one thing. Planning. You know that old saying, measure twice, cut once? Yeah, that is everything here. One little mistake in this blueprint phase could send the entire project completely off the rails. So step one is a full-on inventory. You just can't move what you don't understand, right? So the team catalogs every single one of those 50 microservices. Next, and this is absolutely critical, is dependency mapping. And only once you have all that information can you finally define the exact scope and build a realistic timeline for the next 60 days. So this is why that dependency mapping step is such a huge deal. It's all about figuring out how everything is wired together. You know, if the user login service has to talk to the database service to work, well, you can't just move one without the other. This map, it's what prevents a total catastrophic meltdown where everything just stops working. All right, the blueprint is locked in. Now comes the heavy lifting. Month 2 is where the team actually starts moving all the digital boxes into their new home. This is where the action really heats up. First, you have to build the new house. That's the environment in Amazon Web Services. You can't just dump everything there. You have to lay the foundation. Then you start the migration, but you do it in phases. You would never try to move all 50 at once. You move them in smart, logical groups. And all along the way, you test and you test and you test again. Every single piece that gets moved is checked to make sure it didn't break on the trip. And this gives you a little taste of what the project plan actually looks like. You can see it right here. The Migrate User Auth task is owned by Team Alpha, and they have from week 5 to week 6 to get it done. Then the QA team immediately picks it up. This isn't chaos. It's a carefully choreographed dance. Every single team knows their moves and their timing perfectly. We're in the home stretch now. Everything has been moved over, but the job is so not done. Month 3 is all about sticking the landing. And believe me, this is the difference between a smooth touchdown and a very, very bumpy one. So this final phase has 3 super important parts. First is performance optimization. Is everything running as fast as it did before, or maybe even faster? Second, final user testing, where real people click around and confirm everything works like it's supposed to. And then, the moment of truth, the go-live cutover. This is it. This is flipping the main switch. Right before they flip that switch, there is one last high-stakes meeting. The CTO, the VP of engineering, all the key players are in one room. And based on all the data, all the testing, they make the final call. Is it a go or is it a no-go?
This is the point of no return. Are we really, truly confident enough to move the entire business onto this brand new system?
But here's something you have to remember. A project like this isn't just about servers and code and data, it's about people. And managing their expectations, their fears, and their contributions, that's just as important as managing the tech itself.
And you will absolutely hear questions like this one. You'll have a stakeholder, maybe from the finance department, who is really worried. Their billing system is ancient, but it's critical. Is this big move going to break it and stop the company from making money? That's a totally legitimate risk, and fixing it takes more than just technical skill. It takes building trust. So, how do you actually build that trust? You do it with a really smart communication plan. And I'm not just talking about sending a few emails. This is about targeted communication. Detailed weekly reports for the executives, hands-on demos for the teams who will actually use the new system, and a clear, safe way for anyone to raise a red flag. This kind of transparency is how you turn worried stakeholders into your biggest supporters. So that's the whole 90-day journey in a nutshell. Month 1 was the blueprint, all about planning and mapping. Month 2 was the heavy lift, building the new environment and migrating all the services. And month 3 was about sticking the landing, testing, optimizing, and finally going live. At the end of the day, a massive technical project like this teaches you one huge lesson. Success isn't just about brilliant coding or the fanciest new technology. The project plan, that dependency map, the communication strategy, that's the invisible scaffolding that keeps the whole thing from falling apart. We just walked through the plan for 50 microservices. It's complicated, it's definitely high stakes, but it's doable. But that leaves you with an even bigger question to chew on. What does a project plan like this look like when you're not just moving 50 services, but an entire global company? The scale is just mind-boggling, but you know what? The core principles we just talked about,